I'd look at people walking down the street or somewhere and I'd think, God, I wish I could do that. If you can walk without thinking about it, if you can stand up and walk out the door without thinking about it, you don't realise that just what a great thing it is to be able to be mobile like that.
The pain that I experienced stopped me doing a lot of normal day things. It stopped me going out to just hopping in the car straight away and going around and getting some groceries, because the energy that it took was just too much to do that.
I'm a type of person that is flat out. I've always been flat out. I don't sit still very rarely. I'm just out flat out. And then this has all just sort of crashed on top of my life, and sort of the pain controlled me being able to be doing physical stuff. And I've always been the type of person that I can't stop halfway through something and sit down for a little bit. I've got to just go do the whole lot, and then at the end of the day just crash.
Yeah, well, I was very active person, but after I hurt my ankle, I was unable to. We used to do a lot of walking and all that sort of thing, and no way could I do that. And another thing, I found it also restrictive in what I could do with the grandchildren. Before I broke my ankle, we'd go out for the day, we'd walk over the Harbour Bridge, we'd come back home after I broke my ankle. There's just no way I could do anything like that again.
A lot of people who have chronic pain find that they've become quite physically inactive. Now, when you have acute pain, yes, it's important often to rest, but when you have chronic pain, resting is really not very useful. And so it's important to get yourself going again, get yourself moving again. Now, there's a number of reasons for this. First of all, you need to keep your muscle strength, your muscle tone. If you don't use your muscles, then you lose strength. You want to keep your flexibility, and it's also important for your cardiovascular health. Now, the other reason that you want to be active is when you're exercising, your body releases endorphins, which are our body's own natural pain-killing medications. And so with doing that, you actually find that your pain levels will drop. It also improves your mood and your general sense of well-being. And just remember, when you're exercising, pain doesn't always equal harm.
When I do water aerobics regularly, I find my pain, everything's a lot better because your muscles are looser and it makes all movements so much easier. I found the way I walked, even everything, improves when you're doing these exercises.
Physical activity is really important when you've got chronic pain. If you haven't been moving for a little while, it can be very scary, and doing a self-assessment is a really good idea. There's 4 things though that you probably need to have a think about before you just launch straight into it. Am I able to do strength activities? Am I flexible enough? What's my balance like? And is my cardiovascular fitness good enough for me just to do this on my own? If you assess all those things and everything's good, then you're right to go. If you do these assessments and you're worried about any of them, then I think it's a good idea to talk to your GP. We do something that's called setting a SMART goal. So a SMART goal's got some steps around it, and it starts like this: specific, it's measurable, it's achievable, it's realistic, and it's got a time frame on it. So when we come back to specific, what is it that you might want to do? You might have a dog that is getting fat and lazy and you want to take him for a little bit of a walk. You think, that's what I want to do. My dog really wants to walk. I want to walk with him. Is it actually something that you can measure? Sure it is. Am I able to take the dog for 5 minutes? Am I able to take the dog for 10 minutes? Is it an achievable thing? You think, yep, I've got a dog, I've got a lead, I've got some shoes, I can afford that. That's going to happen. Realistic? Maybe walking all the way around the block with the dog might not be realistic, and you might think, I'll just bring it back and I'll take the dog to the end of the street. And the time frame's important. With a goal, if you can set a time frame on it, it's more likely to happen.
I want to get back on a bike and start riding. Now, to do that, I've got to get my body strong again. So I've got to start strengthening muscles. So what I decided to do was to join a physio class for strengthening. And in doing that, I'm getting stronger, and hopefully I'll be able to then get back on the bike. But it's having a little bit, each time I go there, I get longer and longer on the exercise bike, which I'm able to do. But it meant that I had a goal or something that I wanted to do and break it down.
I'd really like to tell you about pacing. It's a very, very good strategy for people with chronic pain. When you've got an activity to do that you can't change too much, this is a skill that can really help you. A good example might be going to the movies. Pacing then is about planning. It's about going, I've got this activity to do, it's an hour and a half. How can I break that up and keep it comfortable for me? I might be able to sit down for the first 20 minutes and I'll use my timer, and I think that's my comfortable limit. I've self-assessed, that's where I'm at. After 20 minutes, might stand up and actually stand in the aisle for a little while, maybe lean against the wall, maybe do some stretches, and then I'll be able to sit back down again.
I got a little egg timer, and I used to put in 3 minutes at a time, and I'd do something for 3 minutes and then I'd rest, and for like maybe a minute. Try and completely switch my brain off, which is quite difficult, but and doing it by breathing exercises, just breathing in and out and just taking a step back. Then I'd get up and do something for 3 minutes, and then I'd, rest for another minute. And being a person that was always flat out and had to do everything, that was killing me, because I had to learn to pull everything back. Because if I was going frantic and doing all these things, I couldn't walk, I couldn't function. Whereas when I paced out and I learnt to just have that minute, like when the pain's starting to hype up, I just pull back and just let your body relax again. Whereas when you're all tightened up and you're still pushing your body, that's when the body gets more stressed and your pain becomes more heightened. Whereas if you can just take it back that little bit more, and I mean, you don't have to sit on 3 minutes forever. I'm up to an hour and a half now where I can stand.
There's a couple of other things though when you're getting active that you need to have up your sleeve, and one of them is having a flare-up plan. When you've not been active for a while, it's really quite scary that you actually get going and then next day pain is so flared up that you actually just want to get back on the couch again and never move again. And having a flare-up plan, you think, I thought this might happen, but I've got my plan in place. I'm just going to cut my activity back.
When I had the flare-up, I rang in and said that I wouldn't be to work where I help out, that I wouldn't be there for a week. And I went to the physio, I went and had more x-rays to make sure that I didn't do any real damage. And then I went on to a maintenance plan, a flare-up plan for myself. And that was to rest more, to stop doing all the therapies I was doing at that the time. So the last 2 weeks I took off a lot of the therapies, just went to a physio to make sure that the muscles were still going and there was no damage being done. I did lots of hot baths. I did lots of icing, you're putting ice on the different joints, lots of time, spending quality time with Poppy, so that I changed for my body to breathe through the pain that I experienced.
That's the thing that can happen if things don't go well. The other plan that's worth having is actually if things do go well. I actually want to have a plan that now allows me to upgrade. Each week you're going to go a little bit further than you did before. Not ramping up too quickly, likely to lead to a flare-up. So just slow, incremental steps on your way. That's a good start to getting going with your physical activity.
This one day, Rebecca said to me, she said, "Gavin, why don't you stand up and walk over there?" And I looked at her and I said, I can't do that. I can't walk over there. And she said, "Just walk over there. Leave your sticks here and walk over there." And of course I did, I walked like a duck, flapped my arms and things like that. but I walked without the sticks, and that's the first time I'd done that since the accident, my accident where I broke my femur. And I went home that day, and I said to Bev, my wife, I said, I've been walking without sticks. And then every night before I went to bed in the corridor upstairs, I'd walk up and do 45 steps or something, and then I'd go back and I'd say to the group, I did 45 steps walking without my sticks last night, and all the group would go, oh, good boy, you've done very well. And I'd think, well, I'll do 50 next time. So that's the sort of thing I did.
So physical activity is really important, and you've done some hard work. You've set a goal, you've self-assessed, and you've put it on your plan. All of those bits of information are on this fantastic website, and I hope that you can put it together and get started. If it's a bit of a struggle for you, get yourself a team. See your GP, practice nurse, physio or exercise physiologist. They're great people who can help you. You can do it. Even if it's difficult and you're not sure, just get started and begin, and then you'll soon feel that you're really on top of things.
When you're in pain, the worst thing you can do is stop. You need to keep moving to keep everything going, because if you stop, everything tightens up and everything gets worse. But if I'm watching TV, I don't sit down for the evening and watch TV. That's the worst possible thing you can do with pain. You need to get up and wander around, then come back and sit down. But if you sit down all the time, you're going to be worse off than if you do a bit of moving around.
Now is a great time to fill out the physical activity and flare-up section of your health plan. If you haven't already done so, click on the health plan button below the video and download the PDF. Print it out. After each video, fill out the relevant sections. You only have to fill it out once. Take your completed health plan along to your GP or your health professional. This is a great starting point to managing your pain.